Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to RB Hardware. Today we're gonna talk about the best $1,000 pre-built gaming PC that you can pick up right now in 2022. The PC comes from iBuyPower and it's rocking a Radeon RX 6600 XT graphics card, fast enough to handle popular games and AAA titles at both 1080 and 1440p gaming. Now, to make things a little bit easier, we're gonna look at gaming benchmarks. We're gonna compare the pricing with PC Part Picker. Now guys, at any point or time, feel free to check out the PC listed down below. Also for complete transparency, I am not sponsored by iBuyPower. So with that said, let's jump right into it. So we all know how difficult that it's been to build a gaming PC for almost 2 years now. Now while it does seem like prices are finally starting to come down on especially graphics cards, we still haven't seen prices at MSRP. Now this sparked the idea, would it be possible to pick up a complete gaming PC without having to spend hundreds of extra because of inflated pricing? Well, I went out and I started to look for affordable gaming PC parts and pre-built when I suddenly stumbled across this $1,100 system from iBuyPower with specifications seemingly powerful enough to play games at 1080, 1440 and even 4K resolution. Now, before we go any further guys, I want to admit that I've never really been a fan of the idea of a pre-built system. I much rather build the PC myself. However, because of the shortage, pre-builts may seem like the only option to get MSRP pricing. We're gonna talk about the pricing in just a second. It should also be said that not all pre-built systems are bad. You can actually find some really interesting pre-built systems, certainly worth picking up, and iBuyPower is actually one brand that has proven to be reliable company. But with that all being said, let's start having a look at the specifications before looking at what the PC would cost if you would build it yourself, and then have a look at the performance to give you guys an idea what you can expect. Now, Amazon nor iBuyPower is providing any detailed specifications about each component, but after some digging, I actually found someone reviewing the system on Best Buy, and from the comment we can see that the system comes with an M.2 with 480GB from Kingston's SNV 500 series, as well as a Seagate Barracuda 1TB mechanical hard drive to store all the games. But let's talk about the juicy stuff. We find the Ryzen 5 5600X. This is a 6-core 12-thread CPU that has shown time and time again to be a brilliant gaming CPU. In terms of performance, this processor beat most other CPUs on the market, and thanks to the 6 cores and plenty of cache, it is quite future-proof as well. The cooler, however, does seem to be pretty basic, but you can easily toss this out for, let's say, an Arctic esports cooler for like $50. We're getting 16GB of RAM from a reliable brand called T-Force Vulcan Z, running at a speed of 3000 MHz, and this is a little bit disappointing knowing that Ryzen benefits from faster RAM speed, but yep, I guess it could have been worse. Let's move on to the motherboard. This is an interesting one. Motherboards are one area where you typically see these pre-built manufacturers ship out, but that doesn't seem to be the case here, as iBuyPower is using a B550 Prime Plus with onboard Wi-Fi from Asus. Now this is at least a $130 motherboard that comes with pretty much everything you can possibly ask for. Now for graphics, we find no other than a Gigabyte Radeon RX 6600 XT with 8GB of fast G6 memory, as well as a decent case with some RGB and a tempered glass side window. Now, judging from this image here from someone reviewing the pre-built on Best Buy, it does seem like iBuyPower went with a 3-fan cooler variant of the 6600 XT, and this graphics card is currently sitting at $600 alone. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Perhaps the biggest disadvantage with the pre-built system is that you don't get to choose the case. For example, this case comes with a massive thick glass panel at the front, which typically results in bad airflow. Thankfully, we do find a large air intake alongside the right side corner, the front of the case, so the airflow shouldn't be too bad in the end. But let's say you aren't pleased with the temperatures, you can of course simply switch out the case for something with much better airflow, such as the P300A from Fantex. This is a $60 case and it has a mesh front for much better air ventilation. Overall, not too much to complain about here in terms of specifications, and considering the price tag, I do think it would be quite hard to get away much cheaper had you build it yourself. Having a look at PC Part Picker, we see that a similar build lands around $1,050. Now this build does not include Windows 11, nor do you get any peripherals such as keyboard or mouse that we do find on the pre-built iBuyPower on Amazon, and because not all PC parts are available at the same retailer, it does make the whole ordering process a little bit more complicated. But regardless, it is nice to see prices finally coming down, even on individual PC parts. Overall though, I do think that most gamers will be more than happy with the performance from this kind of system, regardless whether you have a 1080 or a 1440p gaming monitor. Now if you look at the gaming benchmarks running some of the most popular games right now at both 1080p, 1440p and 4K resolution, it shows that the Radeon RX 6600 XT is able to provide us with respectable frame rate in most of the games tested. 1080p of course runs like a dream, but even 1440p runs incredibly smooth in most games tested, even with ray tracing turned on. For example, running Call of Duty Warzone, we're able to max out the game at both resolutions with the game turned up to max. Metro Exodus Enhanced Edition, as well as Crysis Remaster, also runs fairly alright, even with ray tracing turned on. Now obviously in a perfect world, I would much rather recommend you guys to build your own gaming PC because it is fun and it used to be something that anyone can afford to do. However, during these difficult times, I do think it is reasonable to look for other ways to get around the current situation, and in times where it is impossible to pick up a GPU near MSRP or the manufacturer's recommended retail price, I do think it is wise to at least consider a pre-built system like this one from iBuyPower. It will save you a lot of headache and you can get your PC without any hassle in just a couple of days. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. I will be back with a brand new video in just a few days. Until then guys, have an awesome day.